Hello scholars, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to look at the clock, right? How to read the clock. And we're going to be looking at two different kinds of clock, the digital and the analog. Now I know that nowadays many persons know how to read the digital because that's what we use most of the time, and we have forgotten, some of us have forgotten how to read the analog clock. So we're going to be looking at both of those clocks, right? And talking about time and how we come about the different divisions of time and so on. Now you know, back in the day, in the long ago days, long ago, before we had actual clocks to measure time, humans found many different ways of judging what time of day it was. Now, you know that our time basically is judged on the sun, what appears to be the movement of the sun across the sky. It looks as if the sun is moving across the sky. We know, however, that it's the earth that's moving, revolving around the sun. But from here, from earth, it looks as if the sun is moving across the sky. And so our ancestors were able to observe this and to develop ways of telling, you know, for example, when the sun was highest in the sky, we call that the zenith, or some persons pronounce it the zenith, the highest point from our observation here on earth, the highest point in the sky, and that actually is midday, right? Our ancestors also used sundials and so on, so they would put sticks in the ground and they would notice that at a certain position of the sun, it created shadows on the ground, and the shadows had varying lengths and were in varying directions according to the position of the sun. So they used that. Those were the primitive clocks, right? Very primitive ways, but sometimes quite accurate or close to accurate in telling the time. Now I'm going to be going down. I have some notes on the board because I want to make sure to cover all the basic points of the clock. So I made some notes and I'm going to run down those notes, and then I'm going to get my analog clock. I don't have a digital clock, no, but we are all familiar. In this day and age, that's the most commonly used clock. But I've drawn my digital clock. Did I draw it good? I drew a digital clock. I hope it looks nice. And I drew an analog clock, and I'm going to explain. I also have an actual analog clock that I'm going to go through. Alright, so let's look at our notes. What are we saying? We're saying the analog clock, which is this one, which has the face with the different numbers and the hands of the clock, and each number, the space between the numbers is divided into units of 5, right? 5 minutes, units of 5 minutes. Now, some analog clocks will have 3 hands, some have only 2. The ones that have 3 hands, the shortest hand is the hour hand. It tells you what hour we're at during the day. The long hand, or the medium in between the shortest and the longest, the long hand, or you could say the medium hand, is the minute hand, and it moves faster than the hour hand. So you won't see the hour hand moving. It moves so slow. You'd have to stand there and really look, and you might see it make a little movement, a little tiny movement. The minute hand, it goes a little bit faster, but still you have to, you can't really see it going on. But the longest hand, the second hand, that one you can see going around and around for the clocks that have the second hand. Not all clocks will have a second hand, the one that shows the seconds, because seconds will go by like tick, 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 those are seconds. So you will actually see that hand, that going around the face of the clock. The minute hand not so fast at all, and the hour hand very sluggish, very sluggish. You would have to have sharp eyes to see the hour hand moving, right? But it does move, and you will, if you come back, you will see that it has moved, right? You will see that it has moved. Now, both these clocks will need, some kind of power system, a battery system to keep it going. And the digital clock will display, so there's a display just in digits, in numbers. So you will have the hour, the minutes. Some digital clocks will show the seconds as well. So the seconds you will see changing quickly. The digits are changing from 0 and it goes up to 59. And then because there are 60 seconds in 1 minute. So once it passes 59, it goes over into 1 more minute. And then the minutes keep adding until the minutes get to 59. Then it goes over to 1 full hour, right? So you can look at the digital clock and it will tell you the hour, the minutes, and the seconds will keep moving very fast. So you have to be really sharp to catch when this one changes. You have to be there on the spot to see when the hour digit changes. You just have to stand there for 60 seconds and you'll see the minute display change from 1 minute to the next. This one though, tick, 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 every second keeps adding till it gets to 59. That's 1 more minute. 59 again, 1 more minute, and it keeps going like that, right? Now we divide up the day into 24-hour segments, right? The hours of the day are divided into 24-hour segments. So 24 hours make 1 day. And if you notice on the analog clock, the face of the clock has up to 12 units, 12 hours. So what happens is, when the new day begins, 1 second after midnight, the new day begins, and the time keeps going through all these 12 hours until it gets to noon, midday, then it starts all over again. So 2 periods of 12 will complete the full 24 hours, right? So we don't have 24 different hours on the face of the analog clock. We just have 12. So when you get to midday, it starts all over. Now you might notice when we're telling time, we talk about AM, PM. What does that mean? So AM is short for ante-Meridian, or before noon. Ante means before. Meridian means the halfway up to the day. So noon, before noon. And post means after. Post-Meridien. So 1 second after midday, it is now PM. Up to midnight, and then a brand new day begins again. So whenever you see AM, it means ante-Meridian, before noon, PM, post-Meridien, afternoon. So once 12 o'clock, once midday has gone and you're greeting someone, you say good afternoon. You no longer say good morning, right? Anytime from 1 second after midnight, even though it's still dark outside, you can still say good morning. It's the new day. The sun hasn't come up yet, but it's a new day. You can say good morning straight up to midday. And then you say good afternoon all the way up. But when night starts to come, you say good evening, good night, and so on. Different greetings. But If we want to be specific, from 1 second after midnight up until noon, it's AM. 1 second after midday up until midnight, it's PM. Okay? So let's continue now. So we have divided up the day into 24-hour segments, and we have also further divided the hours and the minutes. So we divide each hour into 60-minute segments. 60 minutes make 1 hour. So if you notice, when the minute hand goes all the way around, remember I said the space between each digit is 5 minutes. I remember we have 12 digits. So 12 times 5 will give a full 60. So when the minute hand has gone all the way around the face of the clock and goes back to 12, 60 minutes have passed. 1 full hour has passed. And while the minute hand is moving, the hour hand is slowly taking its time. So by the time the minute hand goes all the way back to the 12, the hour hand is now on the next hour. You have to be sharp to catch him. He's very creepy, very stealthy. Creeping up. So by the time the minute hand gets back to the 12, you say, hold on, when did this little shorty pop move? When did he move? By the time it goes back all the way around, he has gone to another hour. The second hand now, you're going to see him moving. He's brisk. He moves fast, right? And there are 60 seconds also in 1 minute. So, by the time the minute hand gets from the 12 to one little segment here, that's 1 minute. Sorry, by the time it gets all the way around, the second hand, remember we said some clocks have a second hand. Second as in the one that tells how many seconds have passed. That hand which goes very fast, in many clocks is painted red to show the difference, because it's usually pretty much as long as the minute hand, but it moves very much faster. So sometimes you'll see it of a different color than the minute hand. Sometimes. And it might be a little thinner, just to make the distinction. You'll see that hand move very fast, and when it moves very fast all the way around, the minute hand has left and gone to another minute. And then that second hand move along again, and it goes to another minute. Right? That's how they move. They are very, very coordinated. So you know that the mechanics of the clock has to be very much coordinated in order to regulate the movement of 3 hands to keep them in sync. Right? So, has to be very sharp, very sharp. Now, sometimes the mechanism falls back and we get clocks that are slower than the actual time that they're supposed to be, as well as the mechanism can fall off and the clock ends up being faster than it should be, right? So that can happen. Alright, now these are little special segments that you should know. When we talk about half an hour, we're really finding half of the 60 minutes, which is 30 minutes, right? 60 divided by 2 is 30. So whenever we say half an hour, it means 30 minutes. When we say a quarter of an hour, we're dividing 60 by 4, and that would be 15 minutes. You must know these. These are standard, right? You're always going to encounter these when you're doing time. 3 quarters of an hour, 3 quarters times 60, so 4 into 60 goes 15, and 3 times 15 would give us 45. So half an hour is 30 minutes, a quarter of an hour is 15 minutes, 3 quarters of an hour, 45 minutes. Know these divisions, right? And remember, noon is midday or halfway through the day. And midnight is when the day ends actually. So 1 second after midnight, we're going over into the next day. Even though it looks so dark, if you were to look through the window at midnight, it is pitch black, not a sun in sight. For hours, we're going to wait till the sun comes back up. But still, technically, it is another day. It is AM. It is actually morning. Yes, it is. Alright, so let me go now for my analog clock. Okay, so this is my analog clock. Okay, you can see. Now we have divided, we have just shown, because remember, so this clock, this analog clock has 3 hands. Lucky for us, it has 3 hands. Some just have the minute hand and the hour hand, right? So some just have this thicker long hand. Remember, I was telling you many times the second hand is thinner and sometimes it's of a different color. Well, this time it's the same color. All the hands are the same color, but you can see that the second hand is much thinner than the minute hand, right? And the hour hand, of course, is thicker and shorter. Now remember, the space between the 12 and the 1 and the 1 and the 2, the space between all these numbers is 5 minutes. So on the clock we have put that the 1, when the minute hand is on the 1, that means 5 minutes have gone. When it's on the 2, 10 minutes, we're counting in groups of 5. So it's pretty much, when you're reading the analog clock, it's like you're saying your 5 times table, right? You're saying your 5 times table, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. When it's on the 3, that's 15 minutes past. Or remember, we said 15 minutes is a quarter past. A quarter of an hour has gone. When it's on the 4, it's 20 minutes, because 5 4s are 20. 5 5s 25. So when the minute hand is on the 5, 25 minutes have gone. When it's on the 6, 5 6s are 30, and it's halfway between the 12, from the 12 to the 6, halfway around the face of the clock. So half past, the minute hand will be on the 6, and that means it's 30 minutes past. We just said, remember we just calculated, half past means 30 minutes. So you can use all of those to tell. When it's halfway around, it's on the 6, and 5 6s are 30. Or you can say half of 60 minutes are 30 minutes. And then it goes, so that's on the digital clock, you would see 35 minutes, 40 minutes, 45 minutes on the 9, 50 minutes when it's on the 10, and 55 minutes and back to the 12 would be a full 60 minutes, so another hour has gone. On the digital clock, it will go up to 59 minutes, and then once it gets to 60, this minute will change and go to the hour, and you'll see 00 minutes. 00 minutes, 1 full hour added to the hours. And the seconds keep going, and they keep transferring. Once the seconds get to 59, it goes over and add a minute. Once the minutes get to 59, it goes over and add to the hour. Right? And once the hour gets up to 12, then it will change from AM to PM. And it gets to 12 again, it changes from PM to AM, and so on, right? So this clock isn't working. We have this clock in the school just to show the students, to demonstrate the time, but the clock stopped working a long time ago. But I'm moving the dial at the back of the clock to show you how it would work. So you would see the second hand, this skinny hand here. He's skinny, so he's very frisky. It will be moving tick, 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 all the way. Tick, 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 tick. you could see the second hand going around and around, right? The minute hand, if you watch carefully, you would see it every second it would move. Every 60 seconds it would move. Then the second hand goes another full way around, the minute hand would move. And it keeps doing that, right? The hour hand, you would have to be very patient and stand there and don't take your eyes off it, and you still might miss it. You still might be there standing and saying, but how come I didn't know, I didn't realize, and it still moved? And it will be like magic to you, right? So the mechanisms inside the clock are delicately moving. Moving that hour hand, the shortest one here, the hour hand, delicately moving it so that when the minute hand has made a full revolution, the hour changes. It changes, right? It's slowly moving, very delicately moving. So that's the basics of telling time, using the analog clock, using the digital clock. We're going to be doing a number of videos on the clock, how to write time in words, how to write half past, quarter past, when the minutes are going up to the hour. That's a different video. So look out for those videos if you want to be able to tell the time better. So far now, this is the, these are the basic things about the clock, right? So we're going to leave it there. Look out for those other videos, and by the time you're done, you'll be able to read the clock, the analog clock, as well as the digital clock. Alright guys, so my scholars, take care, and please just say thank you if you have been helped, and also share the video to others so they can benefit. And let me know if you want me to do any more videos on a particular topic. So if you look through the catalog and you don't see the topic that you're struggling with, just let me know and I'm going to do a video on that for you, just for you. So I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys.